Welcome back. Today I wanted to share some ideas about raising fit kids. Our kids are currently 10, 11, and soon to be 14 years old. And we happen to live in one of the fittest zip codes in America. And the kids are competitive in whatever they want to do. And there's some lessons that I've pulled out for athletic parents or parents that want to raise athletic kids. So let's get stuck in. Number one, relationship first. Always preserve the relationship. There's no need to be kicking anybody's butt as a parent. And I would argue that it's completely counterproductive to be putting pressure and stress on any kid or young athlete if you're looking for them to perform. Early development. Our kids started their athletic careers before they got out of the womb. Monica did a ton of swimming with all her pregnancies. And as a swim family, we wanted to expose them to the water early and often so that they would maintain the comfort that they had as babies as they grow up. And they would just grow up being comfortable in the water. And if you have a family sport that involves either skills or an environment that adults sometimes get scared of later in life, exposure, heights, whatever, it may pay to expose the kids to that when they're young and continue with a little bit of exposure so that they grow up in that environment and they're comfortable in that environment. In terms of skill acquisition, first thing we focused on was mobility and agility. So we did soccer tots, we did gymnastics as soon as they could get in, just to get them used to moving. And we didn't care about games and we didn't care about competitions. We just wanted them to enjoy moving in their bodies and pick up skills. The one area where we would add a little bit of competition was every summer we would do summer swim league. And that gave the kids experience with standing up on the blocks, doing a race, going really fast, and the way it feels to have your heart rate super high. It's something that if you don't learn when you're young, it can be difficult to pick up when you're later. When you see a lot of kids at that middle school age that haven't raced when they were younger, as soon as that heart rate gets up, there's a momentary panic. You see it a lot at cross-country races. The kids shut it down, walk for a bit, get comfortable again, and then get back into the race. I think that's just a case of getting used to the way racing feels. The kids that have raced from a young age, they know that's just the way it feels, and they can push through those feelings. Final point, early socialization. And this wasn't to do with sport. This is just our decision to put them in a high quality preschool where they got used to learning from adults. They got used to getting along with other kids, and it gave them a set of skills that they can bring to be good teammates. Both learning from adults and also just engaging with other kids in their sport. I think that's a useful thing that you can achieve in these early years. Very consistently undertrained. That's the philosophy that guides how much I let the kids do in their week. It's easy to leave them overscheduled. And if you ramp the training early, you will get results. But I'd advise you not to do that. Don't optimize any single pursuit. Keep them doing a range of activities in their week and across the year. We let them do a lot of unstructured play. And if you watch what they do, it's all agility stuff, jumping, spinning, flips off the board. It's all really good for their long-term development. I think, compared to the way their grandparents grew up, a lot of kids are way more structured, and that can make them very good, but they could be very good in a single dimension. Whereas in terms of where ultimately they're going to want to take their lives, the more skills we can give them in their toolbox, the more options they're going to have to go to when they're grown up and thinking about their own athletic careers. Another point I want to mention is have a look at the athletic profile of the kids. Even within the same family, I see very different profiles in the kids. So a speed profile would be an athlete that likes to go really fast and finds endurance sessions mentally very fatiguing. So one of my kids is like that. The other kid, endurance profile, loves the long stuff. Will go out with me and hike 5 hours, no problem. 6 hours, no problem. And then in between that, our third kid, hybrid profile, little bit of each, happy to do either, but fit the exercise and fit the approach to exercise to the kid. Quite often I hear parents thinking the kids aren't doing enough. They want to ramp the load, ramp the vertical on skiing, ramp the longer workouts in the pool. I think it's counterproductive. One, the kid might not enjoy it, and then they're going to drop out as soon as they get a chance. And then two, they don't really need it. It's all about skill acquisition and just having fun, because the real work is going to come much later. So, how long are we talking about? Well, round numbers, from the time the kid stands up to when the adult athlete reaches their ultimate potential, we're talking about 10,000 days. And I put that number out there to help give some context to a lot of the worries that parents have about their kids in whatever program the kid happens to be in day to day, month to month. Because even across a full season, say a 100-day season, it's 1% of their athletic life, assuming they're going to be a great athlete. So keep a little perspective. The other thing is, it's very easy to ramp load on an 8 to 11-year-old and have great results. Focus them early, crank the load up, have them doing doubles, 10 workouts a week, year-round. The kid wants to please you. They're going to work their butt off, and they're going to get great. You're going to have a great 12-year-old on your hands. They're going to be winning. They're going to think it's a lot of fun. That 12-year-old is about to have a very tough time in high school as the other peers train up, as the generalists decide that they want to focus on a single sport and come in and start competing against that former star. And it can be a really tough time to be that kid at a time when there's a lot of other stuff going on in their life that they're trying to figure out as a teenager. So you might not be setting that child up for success if you ramp load early. So what do we want to put in the toolbox for these young adults? My proposal is put as many things as possible in the toolbox. Jump, run, swim, kick, catch, throw, skip, grapple, tumble, all these different skills. Get them in there and keep them in there. In other words, don't specialize early. Take those skills from the child through puberty to the young adult. You're going to have an amazing athlete at that point. With early specialization, a lot of those skills drop out. So you'll run into single sport athletes, great single sport athletes that were super athletic as children, and they specialized early and they didn't end up as athletic adults. And it limits their options later in life. Keep those options in for the kids, because ultimately it's not going to be the parent's decision where this young athlete ends up. Leave room to load. Middle school, high school, even the collegiate level, it's not the final destination. If you want to offer this athlete the ability to take themselves to their maximum potential, you have to leave them somewhere to go when they're done working with you, when they're grown up and they're making their own decisions. So leave space for them to take it a little bit further. Work, fun, and results. Building the association between work and fun, fun and results, and work and results. How do we do that as coaches and parents? We do it by where we spend our time and where we give our attention. So we spend our most valuable currency, time and attention, with these young athletes, having fun, doing what it takes, going for a walk with them, going on a family bike ride, jumping around in the family gym. That's where it happens. That's where the process of improvement is built, that enjoyment of the process. And what do we control? We don't control the effort that the kid puts in at practice. But what we do control is the example we set as individuals, the example we set within our marriages and our other relationships, and the environment, the training environment, but most importantly, the home environment, how we decide to live in our house. So what remains? What are the enduring edges at the end of an elite athletic career? By looking at those, maybe it'll give us some ideas for how to approach it when we're at the front end with the kids. Resilience, courage, and persistence. These traits can be taught to very young kids through sport. And if you're approaching your sport with these in mind, you can reinforce those with your time and with your attention. You can reinforce these traits in the kids as they're growing up. A daily habit of movement in terms of something that's going to help the adult's longevity, their quality of life across a 50-plus year time horizon. It's that daily habit of movement. And then we talked about setting the environment. Sleep and nutrition are habits that start as kids, which will make not only your teen years easier to navigate as a parent, but help that young adult get some stability as they go through the various life transitions of graduating from high school, establishing a career, finding a life partner, and then starting their own family. These can be core habits that a life with meaning is built with. And then finally, energy and enthusiasm. Fit kids are more fun to be around, and they have more energy to bring to their lives, learning and however they want to live their lives as they grow up.